About me, I'm a senior at Cal State Dominguez Hills, majoring in liberal studies.
I'm Megan. I'm the second presenter. I go to UCSD and I major in bioinformatics. I'm so sorry. Let me turn off the music.
Wait, can you turn off the music? I can't hear
Okay.
you.
Oopsie, sorry.
Alrighty. Okay, so what we're going to be covering today is systems of higher ed, right? So we're going to be talking about community colleges, Cal State universities, University of California, which is UC's, privates, out-of-state colleges, and trade schools. Megan, I have control of your screen, but it's not going. Okay, there. So first, whoa, we're going to be covering. Wait, what's going on? Why is it moving?
I don't know. I'm not touching anything.
Me either.
Oh, wait. What?
Ooh, spooky.
It's probably on a timer. Each slide, like after 1 second, it goes to the next slide.
Or just, Megan, you have complete control, and I'll just tell you when to skip.
Okay. Oh, that's not me. Abort control. Slide. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? What is this thing?
That's like to write on it. To write on Casper. Okay. Community colleges. So that's one of our first topics. So what is a community college for those of you who do not know? Community colleges are two-year institutions. Obviously, some people do stay there longer, but officially they're known as two-year institutions. And at a community college, you can get an associate's degree, which is known as an AA. You can get some sciences degrees and vocational certificates. And vocational certificates are mainly for those career paths that don't necessarily need degrees. Like if you want to get your certificate in cosmetology, they have those type of options. They even have like auto shops type of options. A close friend of mine did like a veterinary assistant option. So that's like the type of certificates you can get at a, sorry, a big truck is passing my house. Okay, so you can get those type of certificates, and then some community colleges near us. Of course, Harvard College, which is very near to Narbonne, El Camino, Compton College, which has a partnership with El Camino College, LA City College, Southwest, Long Beach City College, Cerritos College, Santa Monica College. So you have a lot of options, but there's a total of 115 in California. So don't feel limited to having to attend Harvard College or El Camino because there's options. You know, it's that you may move a house or whatever it may be, there's options if you do want to go this route. And some things to consider about community college is that they do require you to be 18 years or older, but there are some loopholes for current high school students. Right now that you are all in high school, you're able to take college classes. And that's kind of like your only way to do it because apparently you just can't be a minor and not be in school and attend community colleges. In order to be a minor and attend a community college, you have to go through your high school. So you can like take some in the afternoon once you're out of your regular schooling. You can do that. Again, you have to be a high school graduate or have your GED. So if you're not taking classes as a high school student, you have to be at least a high school graduate or have a GED equivalent. They do not require GPA to be admitted. So UCs and CSUs both have like their own individual requirements, but community colleges do not require any type of GPAs. You can kind of go in with whatever you have. And they do not require college entrance exams. So no SATs, no ACTs, none of that. Really, but the only thing that the way they will know where to place you is by taking a placement exam. So usually before you get your schedule, you'll kind of set up an appointment and take a test to see where you land on English and where you land in math. So that way they have an idea of where to place you in the beginning. And then how much does it cost? So let's say you were considering community college and the financial reasons are kind of like a big factor to determine your decision. So every year it changes, but for the approximate cost for 2020 to 2021 is 1,636 per year, meaning $46 per unit. And what that means, the per unit part is in college, every class is amount of units. So some classes are only 3 units and some classes are only 4 units. So If a class is 3 units, 3 units, you're going to be paying 46 for every unit that your class has. So if it's a 4 unit class, it's going to cost more than a 3 unit class. So I know 1,636 sounds like a big number, but in comparison to your CSUs and your UCs and your privates, it's a lot cheaper. And again, like any institution, those tuition fees do not include your books or your supplies or your room and board, if applicable. I know El Camino Harvard College, they don't necessarily have rooms and like dorms for you, but I know they do offer apartments nearby. So if you end up going to a community college that's a little bit further out, you can do apartments, but again, that would not be included in your tuition. And just don't forget, you can use your FAFSA 100% at your community college, whether you get grants or your Board of Government waiver, all of that you can use at your community college. Does anyone have questions so far? Anything on community college? You can open up your mic or chat, but if not, it's cool. We can move on. No? Okay. Okay, so now Cal State's universities. These are your CRCs. So what are your Cal States? Cal States are 4-year institutions, very different from a community college. You can attend a community college and then transfer to a CSU. And what you can get at a CSU is a bachelor's degree, so a BA or a BS, meaning Bachelor's of Science or Bachelor's of Arts. You could also get a master's degree, some degree. Of course, you can get your teaching credentials and some pre-professional training. So you can do a lot more at your 4-year institutions compared to your community colleges. So that's kind of like what you can do. And in order to apply, you go to CSU Apply. And here, this is a link. But since we'll be sharing this presentation with you, I think you guys can just click on it later. But for freshman applicants, this is where you would go, and it's going to give you all the details on where to apply, how to apply, deadlines, and more specific things to consider. And then some CSUs near me, meaning as in everyone else here, is of course Dominguez Hills, Long Beach, Fullerton, Cal State LA, Cal State Northridge, CSUB, so in Bakersfield. So there's a lot of local ones. There's definitely a lot more than your UCs, but there's a total of 23 campuses. So don't feel like you have to stay here in Southern California. There's also some way up north and way in the south. So you can go to like San Diego State, for example. And what to consider about your CSUs. Again, you must be a high school graduate because you have to, provide them with all those A through G stuff and all these requirements. You must meet the minimum of 2.5 GPA, but that is subject to change depending on the major or campus. Some campuses only require you to have a 2.5 GPA, and that's just the minimum, but that doesn't mean aim for a 2.5. If you really want to go to Cal State Long Beach, for example, and they're only having you to have a minimum of 2.5, reach for that 3.0, 3.5. But you just have to kind of look out for the campus to see how highly selective they are, and then also for their majors. Some majors require a higher GPA than others, so you kind of have to determine that for yourself. And then third point, A through G requirements must be completed with a C or better. So if you don't know what A through Gs are, but you may already know since you're juniors and seniors, but there are your classes you take in high school that must be passed with a C or better in order to consider you college eligible. So CSUs do require for you to have that completed. And then SAT or ACT scores. And I know right now it's temporarily suspended for class of 2021, but for future classes, we have juniors here. To be honest with you, we really don't know. I think this year, a lot of stuff we don't know yet how things are going to turn out. But if it was not for COVID, yes, they would require some test results. And again, depending on the school, they'll tell you which they would prefer to have. And again, how much does it cost? So every year it's constantly changing, but as for 2020 to 2021, the approximate cost is between 5,000 and 7,000. So the number changes, immensely a lot compared to community college. And again, this does not include your books, your supplies, and room and board if you do decide to dorm at Cal State Long Beach, for example, or Northridge. So it does not include your room and board, but you can also use your FAFSA. Just as community college, you do your FAFSA application and you can use this to pay for your tuition and it give you some grants, hopefully to help you pay for those books. But yeah, 100% still do your FAFSA.
This part is for universities of California. They are also four-year institutions where you can earn a bachelor's degree, and they have programs if you want to continue for a master's degree or doctoral degree. Similar to Elizabeth, here's the link for the UC application. But since we're in presenter mode, if you want to refer back to these slides, you can go ahead and click on this link, or you could just Google for the UC application. In total, there are 10 UCs, but one of them is UC San Francisco, which is a graduate school. And here are the average acceptance rates. These are just averages, so they look beyond just your GPAs and your scores. For those of you who didn't know, there is a holistic review that most of the schools do, which means that they consider your other achievements, such as the clubs that you're in, whether or not you're on the board for those clubs, or any volunteer positions you might be doing. Some things to consider are that you have to be a high school graduate, or you could have your GED. You have to have a minimum of 3.0 GPA, which is calculated based on the UC approved courses. You have to have your A through G requirements completed with the C or better. Similar to the CSUs, the test scores for SAT and ACT are optional, but the SAT subject tests are recommended. And then for the applications, there's personal insight questions. There's 8 of them, and you have to answer 4 total. On average, just the cost of tuition is about $14,000 per year. Every UC is different for the cost of tuition, and every year it also changes. If you want to look more in depth about how much, if you were to live on campus away from home, this is how much you might have to pay. But you also get money. Oh, if you sorry, if you can get FAFSA, it will help cover a lot of the costs. Does anyone have any questions for UC applications? Okay, this one's private colleges. They are 2 and 4 year institutions where you can either earn an AA degree, a bachelor's degree, and then similar to UC's, if you would like to continue, they might have programs for master's or doctorals. You use the Common App to apply for private colleges. Some private colleges in California are the ones listed, but private colleges are also out of state. Some things to consider are you have to be a high school graduate, have a minimum of a 2.0 to 3.0 GPA. SAT and ACT scores are optional, but the SAT subject scores are also recommended. And for the applications, they might require letters of recommendation. For private schools, no matter if it's in California or out of state, the price should be the same for all students. And roughly speaking, it's about $35,000 to $50,000 a year. Some private colleges might use FAFSA, but others might use the CSS profile, which is very similar to FAFSA. For out-of-state public colleges, they are 4-year institutions where you might earn a bachelor's degree, and then similar to the other colleges mentioned, you can continue on to a master's or doctoral degree. Out-of-state public colleges use Common App or this application called the Coalition application. Here are some private colleges. Oh, sorry, this is a typo. Some public colleges out of state. University of Washington, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, etc. Some things to consider are you have to be a high school graduate, have a minimum of a 2.0 to 3.0 GPA. SAT and ACT test scores are also optional. And for the writing sections in the application, you might have to answer like short and long responses. At out-of-state public colleges, you have to look as the out-of-state tuition. And this also does not include the books, supplies, or room and board. Oh.
Okay. Trade schools. We made sure to include trade schools because that's still a valid option. You know, sometimes life happens and we don't go straight to college after high school. Trade school still is an option. So here's some information if you were considering this route. Megan, can you go on to the next slide, please? Oh, thanks. So, if you don't know, what are trade schools? So, trade schools are also known as vocational schools. It's a post-secondary institution that's designed to give students the technical skills to prepare them for a specific occupation. And specific is underlined because it really truly is very specific. If you attend, whether it's CSU, UC, privates, all of that, you can kind of major in anything, and that school would has like a lot of options, right, to prepare you for. But trade schools really do narrow in on what they want to train you for. So you can earn certificates in information technology, nursing, health sciences, automotive technician training, medical assisting. So they're very specific. Usually, that specific trade school institution will only focus on one thing. So, like for example, these are some trade schools near us. You have UEI College, which focuses on nursing. American Career College, which also focuses on nursing, but also has like some dental stuff in there. West Coast University, which is an OC campus that also focuses on the health sciences, and Universal Technical Institute, which works on mechanics. So, you know, if it's like that, you can't, for whatever reason, you don't end up going to college after high school, and you find yourself that you still want to get a profession and something you want to do, but you need to do it quick, this is something that you may want to consider. And just overall about trade schools, like I said, it can be an excellent option for those who want to get the necessary training to secure a job quickly, because usually these trade schools are a lot shorter than colleges and universities. These schools can go from 8 months to 2 years compared to your average institution where you can be there from 4 years to 5 years, some even six, just for like a bachelor's degree. So it's a big difference. But something to consider is that you do not receive a bachelor's degree at these trade schools. Usually when you complete them, you get a certificate or some kind of diploma. So it's not the same as a bachelor's or a master's or a doctorate. Usually just get a diploma or certificate. And admissions is open enrollment with your community colleges and your UCs, Cal States, privates, all of that. They usually kind of have to go in for the fall semester or their spring semester. Trade schools kind of keep that going, and whenever people want to join, they usually go in. So this is a little bit more flexible compared to the others. And how much does it cost? So annually, it's between 5,000 and 15,000, which I know is a big range. But again, it kind of determines on what type of trade school you end up going for. Some cost more than others because, you know, they need you to buy more supplies, more books and all that. But again, that tuition does not include your books, your supplies, and room and board if applicable. Some schools I noticed that they did include their book fees in their tuition, but it's not every single one. So that's something that you have to go investigate. If you're interested specifically, for example, in UEI, you have to find out like, okay, is my tuition covering books? If not, you know, how much does that typically cost? Things like that. And I guess one of the big downsides is that financial aid does not apply to trade schools, so it's not an option. This is usually gonna have to come out of your own pocket, but it's still a valid option if you do want to go this route. Sorry. Does anyone have any questions on anything we covered so far? Someone says, can you explain the Common App? I'm not really familiar with it.
The Common App is it's similar to like the apply to a bunch of colleges. It's just kind of like a hub where there are private and you can apply to multiple, but each college would have its own application and its own writing section. Um, does that answer your question?
So yeah, thank you. Thanks for asking. Again, any questions on like community colleges, CSUs, privates, all that? I went to a community college. I went to El Camino College and I was there for 3 years and I transferred out to Dominguez Hills. So, I mean, even if you don't have questions now, feel free to reach out. I can for sure, like, I would love to give you any insight or answer any questions about that community college experience, transfer experience, and the CSU.
I have a question. My voice just went out right now. It's not cute. I guess this is my question to some of the mentors. What I understand, like when we were all applying as like seniors, that we were weighing like where to apply to, what types of universities to apply to. So if people could go through like one or two reasons why they chose their specific college right after high school, and the reasons just behind choosing like community versus CSU or like UC or out of state, for example.
I can answer that question. So I decided to go to El Camino straight out of high school. One, because me financially wise, like I knew I didn't have any CSU UC money, and I saw the type of what's it called, like grants or what's it called, it's on the tip of my tongue. When you apply to schools and they give you back your budget, like what they're gonna give you. Oh, your financial aid package. There you go.
Yeah.
My package wasn't looking too great, so I knew I didn't even know what I was gonna major in yet. My financial aid package wasn't looking too great. I was a 17-year-old, didn't know what to do, anything. So I feel like community college for me was the safest because I didn't know what I was gonna do yet. And El Camino kind of gave me that space to figure it out. I changed my major like 4 times. So at least I'm glad I went the community college route because it saved me lots and lots of money. My first 3 years of college was completely debt free, cost me $0. And also I was able to do some career exploration. So that's why I chose it, just money wise and really school wise, because I didn't know what to do, what I wanted to do, or anything like that.
Thank you, Liz. Megan, you want to talk about why you chose the school you chose?
Okay, yeah. So in high school, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty narrow-minded. I did a lot of extracurriculars, and I felt like if I did all this hard work and I didn't get into one of my dream schools, I would just rather go to community college than apply to CSU. So I didn't apply to any CSUs. I applied to 4 UCs and two out of states. One was NYU and UW, which is University of Washington. And I told myself if I didn't get into one of my top schools, then yeah, I would just go to community college and try to transfer and try to do it all over again. But when I got my acceptances and the financial aid packages as well, it was kind of pricey. For NYU, I think out of pocket was like $50,000. Same with UW. And then I got into Davis in San Diego, and my mom didn't want me going to Davis. I don't think I wanted to go to Davis because it was like really up north, and it was very farmland, and I'm like such a city girl. So I just decided, mostly my mom decided that I would be going to UCSD. I wish I didn't necessarily let her influence so much, but it was nice because the financial aid package did cover a lot of the costs. Travel. It takes like half a tank to travel from LA to San Diego. For the financial aid package, for me, like everyone's different, but I think out of pocket, it was only roughly like $3,000 max. But that's because I chose to not take out any loans. If I took out loans, then it would have covered everything. And I think after I moved um off campus, it was cheaper as well. So like now I don't have to take out any loans and everything's pretty much covered with financial aid.
Thank you, Megan. What about you, Ruth? You wanna say why you chose the school that you chose, that specific route?
Yeah, so I actually got into, I think, one UC. I applied to UCs and CSUs. I got into CSU SAC, CSU Long Beach, Dominguez Hills, and San Bernardino. And then I got into UC Merced. So that one issue that I had based on deciding was, do I want to go the UC route or do I want to go the CSU route? Now, personally, and I think a lot of my classmates, we were kind of in high school, we were kind of taught, UC is always better than CSU, right? UC is better, CSUs are like lower ranked or whatever and all that stuff. So when I got that decision, when it came to making that decision, I kind of wanted to go to UC Merced just because it was the UC. But after looking into CSU, looking into UC Merced and all that, I ended up deciding to go to CSU Long Beach because I figured out that their psychology program, which was what I wanted to major in, was better than UC Merced. And that ended up kind of making the decision for me. And also because of, as Elizabeth and Megan mentioned, the financial aid package was so much better for CSU than it was for UC Merced. I'd have to pay, I think, like for room and board at Merced, which was about 7 or 8K. And at CSU, my financial aid package covered everything. So I was getting a CSU education for nothing. So I guess the one thing that I want you guys to understand is that it really depends on what you want to do and what you want to study and stuff. And then you'll find the best school for you. Don't think about like what everyone's saying, that like, oh, this is a better school or this is a better school. You have to think about yourself first and think about what fits in with your plans first or what you want to do, and then you'll find the perfect school. So yeah, that's my little piece of that advice.
Thank you, Rhea.
Hi,
Yes,
I want
Megan?
I want to add something.
Yeah.
So like a big difference between CSUs and UCs are that UCs are research schools. So most of the professors there are there to do research, and teaching is kind of like an extra requirement that they have to do research at that school. Whereas CSUs, the learning is more hands-on. So depending on how big you like your classes and what kind of learning you're better with, maybe that could also help you decide. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I chose a UC, but that's fine.
No, I completely agree, because when I was in that stage, when I was at my community college thinking of where to apply, I was considering UC Riverside, but no UCs offers anything for my major as an undergrad. And my major is liberal studies, which is elementary education. So, you know, my counselors were telling me, well, you can go as a sociology major, and that's kind of it, and just end up going for your credential program. But I'm really glad I didn't go through that, because CSUs are extremely hands-on. So whatever your major is, consider what kind of experience you're gonna want. CSUs are extremely hands-on. Like my classes, there doesn't go a single day where I'm not having to work in groups. It's, at least even when schools were open, we were constantly in groups, constantly doing posters, constantly going out to volunteer in school. So it's extremely hands-on, and it's very different than that UC experience. So whatever you're thinking that your major is going to be, consider how you want your schooling to be. Do you want to be really hands-on, or do you want to be with the books? Do you want to do research? Do you want to know the history of it? So yeah, that's a good point though, Megan. Does anyone else want to share their experience? Because we do have a game, but the game won't take long, but I was just letting you know.
I just want to reiterate what Megan and Elizabeth were saying, that, like I said, you just have to figure out the best environment for you. And you have to look at all of your options. You know, look at the trade schools, look at the community colleges, look at the CSUs, the UCs, and just ask questions about those colleges, about the environment. Ask those questions for us. You know, we have UCLA people here, we have UCSC from all kinds of places. So ask us how we feel in those environments, and we'll be able to tell you a little piece about how we felt in our experiences.
If I can add one little bit to that, it would be also, I know when you're at the high school level, a lot of you still don't necessarily know what you want to do, but if there are any of you that have for sure decided, hey, this is the career path I want, one thing you can do is go major hunting. So for example, I'm in accounting, which is by nature a practical skill. It's not a theoretic research-based skill. No one really researches accounting. I mean, there are people that do that, but it's more rare. So that being the case, of course, practicality like CSUs would be more applied to me as opposed to research. And vice versa, there are certain fields like, say, neuroscience that are obviously linked toward research rather than toward practicality. So that being the case, there is no right or wrong answer whether you're going to go CSU or UC. It's more about what path you want and what's going to affect you more that way. You'll notice that if you look into a lot of UCs, they don't even have an accounting major. If you want to do accounting from, say, UCLA, and I know this as an example because I know people in my career who have this path, you have to do just business econ generally, and then I think focus in accounting, but they don't have a set path. So you even have to go to like community college and take certain classes. It's important to know if you have a path set in your head, look into whether they even offer majors at the target schools you're looking for, because that's almost more important than whether you get into a good school.
Just to add on to that, sometimes it's not about what school you get into, it's about what you do with the time that you're at your school, if that makes sense. Like, do you take advantage of like research opportunities, or like, are you networking with your professors, which is very important because they know people that can help you get to your career, or they themselves can help you. So take that into consideration too.
I just want to piggyback off of Alonja's statement. One of the things that I learned when going to college and just throughout like my experiences is that you get out of, you basically, whatever energy you put into an experience, you get out of an experience, regardless of what college you go to. If you take full advantage of all the opportunities, you're like, even if you're like, I don't know if I'm interested in doing this, but like, if you put in the effort to find out, and even if you learn that, oh, that's not necessarily what I want to do, you have to look at it as in terms of, oh, at least I can check something off that like, this is definitely not what I want to do. And that's just more information that will allow you to choose the right path for yourself. And also the benefit of like networking, like knowing that people can help you get your foot in the door, and that people are willing to help you if they see that you're willing to put in the effort to get there. It's a big important idea. So yeah, just wanted to reiterate that.
Yeah, I think choosing is really one, complicated. Sometimes I remember in high school, I was just like, I echo what everybody said. Like in high school, I was very like, I have to get into like a 4-year, because if I don't, like people are gonna like make fun of me if I go to community college. They're gonna be like, oh, it's like 13th grade or whatever, you know, like that stigma and stuff like that. But I was really lucky and like really happy, to be honest, to have like a college counselor, shout out to Miss Maggie, that like said, hey, it's okay if you didn't get into here, like you can, there's like other routes, you know. Like for me at the time, you know, I was 17 and I was like, no, like it's over, like there's just no option, like I can't do anything, like I didn't get in. But one thing that I think doesn't get spoken about a lot is community college. I went to Elko like Liz, with Liz actually. And I found so many different like opportunities there, and it's just nice to have, to know that you have other options and stuff like that, to know that it's okay, you know. And like I think also like the programs that are at the community college, I mean, like there's programs everywhere too, respectfully, at the CSU and UC level, but I think like the programs that were offered at Elko also helped me like would navigate like where I want to go, which like institution that I wanted to get into and stuff like that. So yeah, so you know, I'm like a whatchamacallit, I guess you could say I have a bias towards community college, just because I went to a community college and like I enjoyed some of the and keep in mind the professors too. You'll meet professors that like went to UCLA and will also help you in other areas. You know what I mean? So yeah. I echo what everybody else said. Like, really look at your options. Do it for you, not for like the name of the school. You know, it's like super important. And I know you probably get caught up in like the rankings, like and the names and stuff like that. But you know, just what everybody said. You know, do you go into whatever you want to do, and you'll be just fine. Plus, we're here to help. So yeah.
Just another thing too, to add on to everything. Ruth said something that I don't want to get lost in like all this other conversation, but it's okay not to have a path or set major. It's definitely okay to go to college and figure out there what you want to do. As a high schooler, I heard that a lot, never really believed it. And so, I mean, like a lot of the other mentors here know that like when we were in high school, I was probably talking about like journalism or something with writing or whatever. Went to UCLA, was like, wait a minute, writing is like not what I want to do. Thought I was going to try to do something in like nonprofit community service, something. And then it wasn't until I'm a senior now, it wasn't until 5 months ago that I decided I wanted to go into social work because of all of those experiences that I had at college. So yeah, I definitely don't feel pressured to know. It's obviously, of course, you feel nice and like at peace having some knowledge and understanding of what you want to do, but it's okay to go and have experiences, make some mistakes, go into something and say, oh, actually, I don't like that, and backtrack. And all of that's totally fine, because your life is so, there's so much ahead of you, and like 1-2 years of like knowing ahead of everyone else is not going to make a difference in the grand scheme of things.
And another thing, sorry, I have no screen, but or whatever, but I'm here. So another thing, pretty much a deciding factor for me was being able to like go and visit where I wanted to go. So when I was applying, I was like, I have no idea where I want to go. I'll just go wherever they give me the most money. And so I narrowed down my options, and I was going to do like a little college tour sort of thing. And I narrowed it down between Davis, CSU Chico, and then Santa Barbara. And I was going to go in that order. And I went to Davis first, and I just like, Davis wasn't even really on my radar. Like I used my first 3 UC apps, and then I had my 4th free one, and I was like, what do I do? And then I just applied to Davis. So yeah. And then I ended up going there, and I love it because I went and I visited, and I like fell in love with the campus and stuff. So if that is an option for you to be able to go and visit campuses, then please, please, please do that if you're able to.
Thank you everyone for that insight. I think all of this is just really beneficial information, and it may be a lot of information to hear all at once. But for sure, reach out if you have any questions. Like I said in the chat box, you have a lot of people present, some community college people here, CSU people here, UC people here. But does anyone else have any last bits and pieces to add in?
Me.
Okay.
If you don't get into your dream school, please don't let that define you. Senior me, I applied to like all these schools. I got into all of them except for my dream school, which was UCLA. And I was so sad. I was so devastated. People here can attest to that. And honestly, like everything happens for a reason. I feel like where I am now, I'm very happy. So don't let like an acceptance or a denial don't let it define how much you're worth, because you're so much worth in that. So please don't let these institutions like don't feel like you're worthless because you didn't get into like a specific school. You know, there's a lot of routes, and as Elizabeth and Megan have mentioned today, like you have a lot of options, so you can do it, and we believe in you.
Thank you. Isn't that cool? I didn't even know Zoom had like these cool new things.
It was the update.
Yeah, I love it. Well, alrighty then. Thank you, everyone. So just to end off, we have 10 more minutes left. I think that was a really good conversation. Quizzes that has to do with what we covered today. I don't know if anyone has ever played quizzes before, but really it's a series of questions. You know, you answer them kind of like Kahoot, and it also tracks your speed and accuracy. So everyone's welcome to play. I'm going to put the link in the chat box.
I've never played this in my life.
I think
get
it's
so
fun.
competitive in these. So sorry if I say things I shouldn't say.
Ruth, I think you should stop the recording.
Oh, okay, yeah. So click on the link and you can put your real name, a nickname, up to you.
Okay.
Here, let me share my.
I'm going to stop recording, everyone, okay?
Okay.